Like some people will just go for 2 weeks without talking.
That's not healthy.
Right.
To
Yeah.
say the least. Yes.
Yeah. I
You mean
agree.
some people are just good at malicing?
Just good at malicing.
It's a predisposition or?
It is.
Yes, it's. But can we just look then now at reasons?
Yes.
Some reasons why people get married.
Yes.
We can discuss them a little bit. One of the obvious things is companionship.
Yes.
That's a good reason or not? Indeed. Companionship, we are social beings. We want to have, fellowship and love and affection, a sense of belonging. And so we could pass that as being a good reason.
Good reason.
Could we?
Yes.
All right. How about material?
That's the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people married for that too. Some
Is that-
level of security, material things. Some people would tell you to share the bills, to have somebody to. Not that it's a bad thing, because I don't want us to look at it like that, because that's another issue too with us in the church. Once we mention material things and money, because we're so spiritual, we feel like it's a bad thing. But Bishop, is it really a bad thing? Because not that that's your main reason for getting married. But when you partner with somebody in a marriage, it can also make your life easier. It can, so the material things. So we shouldn't look at it just in a bad light.
Right, I am agreeing
It's
with
contributing.
you. It's very important that be taken into consideration. Truth to be told, persons may not have, all the material wealth to
Right.
one's comfort, but there needs to be a disposition that I am willing to partner with and to grow in the acquisition of material things that are very important to any life here on planet Earth.
That's right.
Yes. So, but like you were saying, if one identifies somebody that they want to marry to that person because the person has things.
Yes.
The cars he drives,
Right,
the houses he
right.
has, the properties.
And you don't love the person.
And that does happen in life, isn't it?
It does.
It does happen.
Yes.
Yes. I see what you mean. So, somebody might say I'm teasing. So, and it happened on either side.
On either
Sometimes
side. That's
a
why
man wants to marry to a woman
Just
because
because
of what she has.
Yes.
He's a scammer.
It is a scammer. Yes.
Exploiter.
Yeah. And then you have the trickster, them now, the females on the other end. Yes. They also want to marry because the man look like him have money.
Oh.
Yes.
So you have to have.
So that's
your
what I
eyes
mean.
open.
Yes, you have to have your eyes open, but nothing is wrong with one, as you explain, to acquire things together and,
Yes.
to enjoy your life, but
Yes.
has to.
Yes. Not a such reason for getting married. Do people marry for profile?
Yes. Which is, some people will marry into a family just because, that family may have a name. Whether you love the person or not. And part of it too is, how you are seen. So that's it. That is also can be a red flag. Yeah.
Yes.
What is it? Is that person just after my name? Just after the profile. You have to look out for these things as well.
Indeed. So there can be obviously good and bad reasons why people get married, and not because what I think and believe, and I'm convinced that there ought to be benefits in going into a marital relationship.
Yes, there must be.
On
either side. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard a clergyman in his attempt really wanting to correct what a popular saying of the marital vows when he says for better or for worse. And he says there should be no such thing. Said
Why?
there's no worse. It should be for better, period. But all right, for what it's worth.
Yes.
But point I'm making is that coming together, it must also be with an understanding that we are going to grow in our assets.
Yes.
Grow in our whether finance or
Right.
other stuff.
That's right. Yes.
And so that we can live a very comfortable life.
Yes.
Here.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at the bottom line, the fundamental reason for coming into this relationship is because you love each other.
Love each other. Exactly.
Yes. Right?
And yes, because that is what is going to save you in the long run. The love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I speak to you and to persons who join in
Yes.
with me, because I believe that some relationships, through marriages, that have had problems and they seem irreconcilable. Sometimes not because they were ignored red flags. It's not because these persons were not in love, but sometimes the obvious lack of some social skills. How to relate to each other, wrapped up in immaturity. It has caused such great divide between two persons who genuinely did love.
That's true.
And every time you speak like that and I speak like that, it takes us back to say there has to be a place of, it's just like journeying educationally. You just don't start out at 5 years old and register into a university.
That's right.
Incrementally you move from one phase and stage to the other.
Yes.
So marriage is a journey.
It is. It is.
It has to go through the phase and stages guided by persons who have experience and knowledge of how this thing works.
That's right. Yes.
Well, there you go. We have to turn our attention and look at the third R.
Yes.
Which are recommendations.
The do's and the don'ts.
Yes. Look at some of these and see. Let's talk about them. It's not an exhaustive list.
Right.
But let us talk a little bit about.
You want to start with some do's or some don'ts?
Let's see whatever you say.
All right. So let's start out with the don'ts then. Don't take your partner for granted. What does that mean?
Don't take your partner for granted.
So, can I just mention that when we were looking to do this, Bishop asked me to do a little survey. And so these are some general comments that, we got from both males and females. So we're sharing them as we speak.
Right.
And we'll expound on them.
Yes. I think there ought to be an appreciation of your spouse.
Yes.
Now we are in the marriage.
Yes.
This is not premarital now. Yes. We're talking about now we're in the marriage.
You're in the marriage,
yes.
Right.
So even when there are chores that both of you may even come to accept that is what you do and this is what I do. Well, quite frankly, I don't necessarily believe that there's any women chores and men chores. Yes?
Yes. Well, I'm happy you're saying that. We need to speak a little louder.
Yeah, well, tell me and I will preach.
Speak a little louder.
I'm saying...
but in which society are you talking about Jamaica, Bishop, with so many macho men?
Well, let me just back up, if I may be real a little bit. I have walked into the pharmacy.
Right.
To get sanitary napkins. And there were these young girls in their upper teens, I judge them, who were whispering when they saw how I was comparing and selecting and walking up to the cashier to pay for it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And I am 100% legit.
Yes.
Mailman.
Right.
Yes.
Of course. I know that, man. Yes.
So,
yes, Bishop.
And so when it comes in within the confines of the house, well, there are obviously things that my wife better
yes
than myself. But if I need to do it, there's no that she must do and I cannot, or that kind of situation. So I'm saying the spouse should not take the other for granted.
Yes.
You should appreciate the person
That's right.
for who she is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
And not seek to even use them.
Right, but another way to I see where on you shouldn't take your spouse for granted. Don't assume that your spouse is okay, meaning your spouse is comfortable. Always check on each other. Affirm each other. Sometimes, like what I find in a lot of cases, you'll some husband you'll hear them complimenting other women, and you don't hear them complimenting you. And then they expect you to understand that that is okay, I love you, you're my wife, you're the one I'm coming home to. But no, don't take us for granted. We want to hear, we want to be affirmed. Men want to be affirmed by us. I have to remember, I don't want to go home now to tell my husband, oh boy, Bishop this, that, and yet I don't go home and affirm my husband. You'll speak down, he will not take it very well.
Gotcha.
So the next point is don't go to bed angry.
Don't go to bed angry.
Yeah, this is like a forever saying.
Yes.
It's like that forever cliche.
Yes. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath.
Right.
But let us look at it practically, because sometimes the wrath is high,
Yes.
So how we going to reconcile?
And it's probably easier just put the sheet over your head and go to bed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what does that mean? I mean,
I think it's establishing a principle. The longer something takes to be dealt with, it's likely more difficult to deal with. And in a flip way of saying striking the iron when it is hot, that has another kind of meaning. But so like I say, it's easier to continue to do something that you have been doing, or not to do something that you have not been doing.
Yes.
And so it is best if you can, in principle, not because emotion not intelligent,
right,
but you decide,
yes,
you take a decision that irrespective of how mad I am not going to sleep unless we have spoken about this. Mark you, it may have happened 3:00 in the afternoon, so you have some time, but what you're deciding is that we are going to talk about this.
So what you do, so you wake up the person, if the person gets upset and goes to bed, if one party goes off, then what do you do?
You mean they fall asleep because they're upset?
Yes, because that
upset
happens.
Is like something that makes people sleep.
People just fed up, frustrated. You drink some water, you're going to your bed.
Go to bed.
Yes.
Well, it will depend. Let me not just jump at an answer, meaning sometimes it depends outside of that context. Let's say when your spouse fall asleep, you know that to wake them messes them up full time. So it was not an escape route that the person was sleeping to have gone to sleep. Okay. So in that regard, you don't have to push it like that. Yes? Okay. But if you know how you both exist, it could be, but let's be creative. You want to, I take it right at this time. I don't want to sound chauvinist. Yeah, I take it at this time. Sometimes women have to talk through their issues. Yes,
we do. Yes, we do.
So, but whether it's a man or the woman, and you want to embrace this, and you say the person is sleeping, all right. So we need to talk about it. But be creative. Why not fix a nice bowl of soup? I'm talking about the man fixing the soup, now,
right?
And come to the room and say, just touch you gently and wake up and say, baby, you went off sleep and I just thought I would make you this cup of soup. And, you know what I'm saying? And then you can talk about the issue.
Creative. Yes. I like that. So, yes. So, we might just take some soup and listen. Yes. No, I get that. Yeah. But at least we'll be able to talk.
Yes.
Which is,
So it's not just come demanding and waking me up and to say, and that cause or not.
Right.
So
or, what would normally happen sometime is You know I wanted to talk to you, yet you went off and sleep.
No, it doesn't.
You know, and it's upset, you're upset. You know, that wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
So try not to go to bed.
So on the final point on the don'ts, don't take offense. Oh dear. I wonder if this one is this gender neutral or is
Sounds
this
like
for the
you
men?
need to comment on that, Natalie. To say that you should not take offense.
You have some people, though, Bishop, who they're just easily offended, you know. How do you, I mean, when you said don't take offense, some people are just easily offended. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
They'll take offense.
Okay. So let us broaden it philosophically here. I don't know that somebody can say to me or to any of us that you ought not to take offense in one sense. Meaning something has been said or done and it has affected me. That's a kind of offense. In a sense, I have no control over it because it's humanly reacting emotionally to what has affected me. But when I do not allow this now to translate to the other side, where I intentionally perpetuate an offensive feeling, that's a different ballgame.
Okay.
I
Know
need
that.
to
Now
know
you're
how
talking.
to manage
Yes.
my emotional offense so that it does not escalate into swallowing up everything of me.
Right.
And affecting our
Exactly.
relationship.
Like some people will just go for 2 weeks without talking.
That's not healthy,
Right.
to say the least. Yes.
Yeah. I
You mean
agree.
some people are just good at malicing?
Just good at malicing.
It's a predisposition, or
It is.
yes, it's
So
yes.
no, but it's true. Some people are just good at malicing.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that is what this means. Don't take offense. I mean,
okay.
and you explain it very well. You know. So let's look at the do's, Bishop. So do celebrate important things. I totally agree. You want to chime in on that?
Oh yeah, sure. And we could just broaden the discussion. To whom is it important? Let's think first of all, there may be something important to both of us. So celebrate that. You know, we have to call upon the men because of how we are wired. No excuse, but sometimes important dates and things seem to go off the radar. So we have to train ourselves. Don't miss the special dates.
When you have phones, you can set the date, the reminder in your
even
phone.
that, you're right. Well,
No
now,
excuses,
no, right. So
ladies.
now we are working together.
Right.
No excuse. You know, so be it the birthdays, the anniversaries, the Valentines, and whatever other dates that are important, and other important things that
I agree.
collectively, you know, we
Right,
should not forget.
Yes, that's true.
But also specifically to what is important, right? To your spouse.
Yes.
You need to celebrate
I agree. Yes,
that.
I like that.
You
Yes.
know, some personal achievement.
That's
You
right.
know, it was on this day that some special thing had happened to you. Man,
Maybe you get up, you got a promotion at work. Eh?
yeah.
Let the
Yeah.
person feel good. Yeah.
You know, I don't claim to have arrived by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
In fact, some things that have happened is only in retrospect you understand the importance of
That's
them.
right.
But whilst you were going through them, you were just going through them. For example,
Once you pass the 30-year mark, you have arrived.
well, I don't know. I don't know that. But for example, there is importance in people going off on honeymoon. And importance in persons going off on other celebrations, whether it's anniversaries or... And it doesn't necessarily always have to be a 5-star hotel if you cannot afford that. But where I'm taking this point is that what I find has worked for me so many times is when we are, meaning my wife and I, are not in that place where events can be planned and supported financially. Or even when it's not needed for that. But we are able to reflect on historical things when we were driving to this weekend and we relive the journey, those things provide for conversation. It provides for excitement as you compare the foolishness of what you were doing then. I mean,
love that. Yes, love
it just makes it enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Them not marriage is sweet.
I tell you.
When you go through your premarital counseling, your R's, your 3 R's.
Yes, I tell you.
All right, the next point. Do accept your partner for who he or she is.
The recommendations are upon us. Tell me about that.
Well, this could mean different things. So for a lot of times, we know who we marry. You're in the marriage, you know that your spouse you may like somebody who likes to talk, or you may like a woman who physically attractive, or I think it's important that you accept who you have and try to, if that person has shortcomings here and there, maybe physically not looking how you want, then you can help with encouraging rather than trying to compare. Try not to compare your spouse with others. Try not to especially us as women, we hate when you compare us to tell us about how other women necessarily look if we know that we don't look like that. And I can give an example. Like, I remember when I just got married, it used to offend me a lot when my husband would come home from the gym and tell me, oh, some new girls start the gym today and they look like X, Y, and Z. When I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not seeing myself, I'm not seeing that. So I feel like, are you accepting me for who I am? So I question that. But then I know no, which is, you rightfully said, why maturity is so important, because no, that doesn't offend me anyway, like how it used to offend me back then. And I understand that I'm accepted for who I am. So, but you have to affirm, and you have to let your partner feel like, you're comfortable with him or her.
Yes. It's a deadly blow to ever compare your spouse.
It is. Especially with exes and...
and there will always be...
our friends.
...place for persons to go off on that deadly path. To be comparing what that will mean. You will never be satisfied.
Never be.
Yes?
Yes.
The best way I can think as we wrap here is that it seems like the grass is always greener on the other side.
I just told somebody that, Bishop, a week ago. Yes, always.
But some not so distant past as reading an article, I think it was, and it was pointing out how there was this very attractive green patch on a lawn. But a closer examination of it showed that underneath that very green patch was a sewage. Well, whatever is the moral of that story, you know what I'm saying?
What was keeping that green patch so green?
Yeah. So it is really not in the interest of your own joy and happiness to be comparing. Accept the other for who you are. But importantly, and I speak from a bit of experience here, without my wife's permission, but certainly with her understanding, that as I journey in our relationship, there were times when I desired for my wife to be different in some things, right? And frankly, the thing would frustrate me until I came into the revelation that I cannot change anybody. That's right. The only person that I can change is me. Yes. And I tell you, when I tapped into that principle, it worked wonders for me, because the change that I wanted to see, I was the creator of that change.
Powerful point, Bishop.
And so that
Yes.
enhance the quality of our relationship big time.
Yes, powerful point.
That's your final words or we close if you have.
Let's give two more. So do know when to keep thoughts to yourself. That's a good one. We can't afford not to mention this one because I'm so guilty of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
You can't talk out everything.
Oh, gee, and I am good at that. I
Yes.
talk out everything sometimes.
Yes.
So I am learning now that we are on the second journey of our marriage. And we're doing so much better because I'm learning that you don't talk out everything. You have to know when then to talk. That's the word. You talk everything, but you know when to talk.
Yes.
So, when families are around, you don't talk certain things.
Right.
When, people in general, friends, when you're on the street, depends. You don't talk certain things. If you know that your spouse might be upset or in a frame of mind where, for example, one of the things, sometimes I'll be focused on something and Mark comes to ask me to talk about, light bill because I turn on the light, too many lights, and I'm not in the frame of mind for that and it just chips me off.
Right.
So what if I have the lights on? Because I'm not in that frame of mind. So do you talk about money when you're having a stressful day?
Right.
Or, so you have to know when to say certain things. And when to keep your mouth shut.
And who to talk to.
Yes. And final one, connect every day. So do connect every day.
Communication. That's it. Different in this day and age, the platforms are multiple and varied. And it just adds excitement and it keeps your focus. So that is big for any growing relationship.
Yes.
We're talking about the 3 R's.
Staying in touch. Yes. 3 R's.
The red flag, the reason, and the recommendations, do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Let us bear that in mind. It was our privilege to have come to you once again, live from the New Foundation Christian Ministries, B1 Marriage Ministry video podcast, and to share with you along this line. We trust it has been very beneficial as we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, I just want to thank our sponsor, Mattox Health and Fitness, our resident producer, George Malcolm Walker, and Damian De Aguilar, our program director. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries and follow us or like us on Facebook at New Foundation Christian Ministries and on Instagram at B1 Marriage Ministry. Thank you for watching. We appreciate your comments.